Your cries once echoed into silence. Now silence torments them like your name in a stranger's voice. They mistook your softness for weakness. Now their strength shatters under a memory they can't forget. Every tear you buried became a root. And now you rise like a forest they can't unburn. The ones who mocked your breaking now shake when they hear your silence walking back. They laughed while you unraveled. But the threads are holy now, and they're wrapped around their sleep. You didn't just cry. You baptized the pain. Their pride rotted, but your sorrow bloomed into storms that now follow their every joy. They tried to forget. But the tears you cried dyed their sky forever. They ghosted you. Now your shadow sleeps on their chest every night. My child, they shamed your grieving, but your grief became sacred ground angels now guard. They bragged about not looking back. Now they flinch when the wind sounds like your name. You weren't broken. You were breaking open. Even their laughter avoids mirrors now, for fear it might echo your old sobs. They said, "You'll get over it." Now they can't get through a single night. Their new love doesn't know why they cry during sunsets, only you do. You healed in silence. They're haunted in noise. They forget the words they used to hurt you, but not the sound of you leaving. You gave love. They gave knives. Now their dreams bleed prayers. My child, your tears were seeds. What grows now will make them kneel. They said you were too much. But they've never felt whole since. They mocked your storm. Now they drink from droughts you never cursed. You were never loud. Just divine in frequency they couldn't hear until it was too late. Every insult carved a door for heaven to enter you. They laughed while you cried. Now you laugh as they run from the sound of their own hearts. You wept in secret. Now your silence is louder than their most public wins. You were ridiculed for loving deeply. Now they drown in shallow arms. They said your pain was drama. Now they binge your memory like sacred cinema. You never needed revenge. You became the prophecy. They mocked your devotion. Now they cling to strangers, hoping to feel a glimpse of you. Every time you almost broke, the stars realigned. You cried in front of them. Now they hide their tears from mirrors. They slept peacefully after hurting you. Now even rest rejects them. You didn't lose your light. You were just outgrowing their dimness. They left you for dead. But even ghosts bow when you enter. You cried. The earth tilted. Now they walk with uneven luck. You prayed through pain. They joked through guilt. Now look who gets heard. They mocked the ache. Now they carry a chest full of ghosts. Their friends never saw your tears, but they all feel your name in his distance. My child, you cried like rainfall, pure, unashamed. Now they beg deserts for you. They called you too much. Now they live in lack. They don't speak your name. But their silence chants it. They confused your weeping with weakness. It was thunder in training. Every tear you shed became an echo in their ribcage. They forgot how they mocked you. But their nervous system remembers. Your tears baptized the ground. No wonder their footsteps now feel cursed. Their peace dissolved the moment you stopped weeping. You once asked, "Why me?" Now they ask, "Why can't I forget them?" They mocked your sorrow. Now it's stitched into their joy. The same eyes that rolled at your grief now scan the room for pieces of you. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. My child, your ache was holy. Their cruelty defiled it. Now life reminds them. They hurt you, expecting amnesia. But heaven doesn't forget its children. You wept in chapters. They now live in the book you became. They once felt powerful hurting you. Now they feel powerless missing you. Your tears wrote psalms. Their dreams can't stop reading them. You left quietly. The echo never stopped. They still hear your sob in strangers' laughter. You cried for love. They laughed. Now they pray to feel anything at all. The heart they mocked is the one their soul cries for now. My child, you were ridiculed in daylight, but they now fear the dark. Their chest tightens at the thought of your peace. They joked about your breakdown. Now they beg for your stability. Your pain made you gold. Their guilt turns all they touch to rust. They claimed you cried for attention. But it's them who now reach into shadows. You healed. But their memory of your pain haunts their highs. Their pride mocked. Their karma listens. Your voice shook once. Now the wind trembles for you. You once hoped they'd return. Now they hope you never do. The tears you shed are now the tide they can't swim against. They laughed loudest when you wept. Now silence is all they hear. You only wanted love. They only wanted control. Now both are out of reach. You cried at night. Now night cries for you. They mocked you publicly. Now they break in private. Your pain gave you wings. Their cruelty gave them chains. They mocked your ache. But your ache became scripture. They told you to move on. Now they can't. You wept. God watched. They forgot, He didn't. Their peace was stolen by the tears they ignored. Your brokenness turned divine. Their strength rotted into longing. They mocked the wound. Now they live in the scar. They joked. You journaled. Now your words outlive their noise. You cried over them. Now they cry over who you became. You loved real. They played God. Now fate plays them. Your tears weren't weakness. They were thunder disguised. You bent for love. They broke for ego. They slept easy then. But dreams are traitors. They never meant to haunt you. But now you haunt them. You moved forward. They stayed trapped in your absence. Your tears watered the future they now beg to enter. They denied you comfort. Now comfort denies them. They laugh less now. Love hits differently after losing you. You were mocked for feeling. Now they feel too late. They saw tears. God saw strength. They dismissed your sorrow. But sorrow crowned you sovereign. You cried for connection. Now they beg to feel your energy. They said you'd never heal. Now healing is your aura. Their name faded. Yours became legend. They underestimated the silence after your goodbye. You wept once. They weep in cycles. You were broken in front of them. Now you're reborn beyond them. They laughed at pain. Now they sip it like poison. My child, they touched you like a joke. Now the punchline is cosmic retribution. They forgot your worth. But their heart still calculates it daily. You don't owe them your story. Their dreams already know the plot. They mocked your collapse. But your ruins became altars. You shed tears. They shed timelines. They erased you. But the ache you left rewrote everything. They told others you were crazy. Now they whisper your name like a spell. You didn't need revenge. Time heard your tears. They called you dramatic, now weep into pillows scented with your ghost. Their voice trembles where yours once broke. You wept quietly. Now their nights scream back. My child, they mocked what was sacred, we marked their name in silence. They laughed at your ache, now can't breathe through their own. Their karma is scripted in the salt of your tears. Heaven counted each sob. Nothing was wasted. You wept. The universe stored it. Now it storms where they sleep. Their chest tightens not from guilt, but the memory of how you loved. They joked when you cracked. Now their joy splits at seams. The tears they mocked now baptize their regret. You bent so low, now they can't reach your peace. My child, your ache was an altar. They burned it in jest. They called your tears weakness, then begged for mercy mid-nightmare. Their punishment is memory. And it never sleeps. They thought you'd break. But you became the flood. Your weeping once echoed unanswered. Now it haunts their every mirror. Their laugh rings hollow beside your healing. My child, you cried into dirt. Now you bloom where they rot. You begged for love. They handed silence. Now scream into it. They replay your breakdown like a cursed lullaby. Your hurt built them a mirror. Now they avoid their own eyes. You wept once. Now they never know rest. Their joy sours when your name is whispered. My child, their jokes sealed their fate. They lit candles from your pain, now sit in darkness. The tear you shed in secret became their loudest consequence. They called it drama. God called it devotion. Their peace left with the sound of your last cry. You were never fragile. Just rare. They watched you fall, now flinch at your rise. The one they mocked became the storm they begged to stop. You didn't lose. They lost you. Their jokes aged like spoiled wine, bitter, forgotten, cursed. My child, they told lies while you bled truth. They sleep with noise now. Your silence is too loud. Their laughter dried up the day yours returned. The universe mourned with you. Now it sings justice. Your tears were spells. They summoned every lesson they feared. They cursed you in jest. Now live under a silent curse. You gave love freely. They mocked the offering. Now starve. Their pillow remembers your scent better than they do. They still ask mutuals about you, with a shake in their voice. You became someone they can't delete, even in dreams. The softest cries create the deepest hauntings. My child, they wrote you off. We wrote you into prophecy. They wake up drenched, not in sweat, but memory. The last time you cried was the first time they did. Their chest hurts now. That's where your love used to be. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. They joked. You journaled. Now your words write their destiny. My child, your ache was an offering. They spit on it. Now they thirst. They saw your tears as weakness, heaven saw them as seeds. You were broken open, not apart. The nights you cried alone, they now beg for sleep. They ignored your pain. Now can't escape their own. Your sorrow was sacred. They touched it with unclean hands. They poured salt. You became sea. My child, they lit your grief for sport. Now burn in it. Your tears melted the future they mocked. They joked with friends. Now dread the mention of your name. Your goodbye echoes louder than any laugh they knew. You disappeared. Their peace went with you. They mocked your pain, now worship what they can't reach. The heartbreak they caused now owns their chest. You asked for honesty. They gave performance. Now live in silence. My child, they failed the test of tenderness. They scoffed at your devotion, now drown in nostalgia. They called your softness a flaw, now crave its return. Your absence is louder than their cruelty. They once mocked your weeping. Now beg to see you cry again. They expected you to stay broken. You became untouchable. My child, the angels wept with you. The same rain you cried under now follows them home. They slept well when you wept. Now twitch at midnight. Your tears were sacred ink. Their jokes, erased lines. They wronged you. Now worship the echo. My child, their chest aches from the love they threw away. They laughed until your silence answered. You were the soul they never deserved. They cursed your name, now pray you whisper theirs. You wept in darkness. Now they walk blind. They mocked your prayer. Now have none. Your heart shattered, theirs never grew back. They joked about your tears. Now cry behind every drink. You healed. They stayed haunted. Your softness was a sermon they ignored. My child, your tears washed the path they now crawl on. They asked for signs. You were it. They regret you now, in slow, silent agony. You weren't emotional, you were honest. They mocked your rain. Now walk droughts. Your tears returned with interest in their dreams. My child, you survived what made them cruel. They never saw the thunder beneath your ache. Your silence was louder than their pride. The grief they caused has a long memory. You gave love that now feels mythical. They wake every day hoping you're still broken. You wept once. Now they do forever. Your tears aged into gold. They mine regret now. My child, they wore armor against love. Now beg for battle. You wept like rain, pure, unstoppable, cleansing. Their jokes cost them forever. They confused your ache for need. You were prophecy in pain. You were never too much. They were too empty. They broke the bridge, then cried at the river. My child, your heartbreak became heaven's symphony. They mocked you. Now beg strangers to remind them of your name. You offered heaven. They settled for echo. They said, get over it. Now can't get past you. The tears you cried, they water your future. You were the miracle they laughed at. They treated your ache like entertainment. Now haunted by reruns. My child, your pain became prophecy. Their lungs tighten when they hear your name. They miss the version of them who had you. Your weeping was a warning. They called you too deep. Now drown in shallow hearts. You didn't break. You revealed. My child, their laughter died the day you stopped calling. They mocked. You resurrected. Now every quiet moment screams your name. They buried your love under pride, now pray to dig it up. The ones who laugh now preach what you once wept. You cried stars. They stare at empty skies. Their lungs fill with grief each time you're mentioned. My child, you were the soft thunder they misread. They didn't believe your tears. Now see them everywhere. You disappeared. Now they search in strangers. Their dreams are just reruns of what they destroyed. You were the divine lesson wrapped in human sorrow. They forgot your tears until theirs wouldn't stop. My child, they feared your silence too late. They told others you were too intense. Now search for that same fire. They slept well once. Now flinch at dusk. You were never just a heartbreak, you were awakening. They mocked. Now remember. Every night. Your tears dried. Their eyes didn't. My child, your pain birthed their karma.